Babs met with Derin and her brother, Pastor Dipo, to discuss his plans and the decision. Convinced that marrying Derin was the right course of action to help her break free from her struggle, Babs shared his conviction with them. Initially, Derin was reluctant, but eventually, she was swayed by Babs. As they deliberated the decision, Babs reassured them of his commitment to supporting Derin in her journey to overcome the challenges she faced. He emphasized that his choice was rooted in a genuine desire to help her and the belief that God had led him to this decision. He assured her that together, they would face whatever challenges they encounter on their way. "What about Kemi? I know you love her very much," Derin asked. "I have made peace with Kemi. She understands my reasons and accepts my decision." With this understanding, they concluded the meeting positively. Pastor Dipo promised to discuss the matter with their parents, asking for their understanding and support for this unique path that Babs was willing to tread for Derin's spiritual well-being. Babs' parents opposed the marriage, and Derin's parents were equally unyielding, demanding to know why Babs called off the wedding in the first place. Despite the initial resistance from both sets of parents, Babs convinced them of the sincerity and necessity of his decision to marry Derin. He explained to his parents his commitment to Derin and the compelling reasons behind their union. Babs emphasized the transformative impact their marriage could have on Derin's spiritual journey and how their partnership could contribute to advancing the gospel. On the other hand, Derin's parents were equally unwavering in their demand for clarity. They wanted to understand why Babs backed out before considering his renewed proposal. Babs shared his personal growth, newfound understanding, and the spiritual motivations propelling his decision. Derin's brother, Pastor Dipo, played a pivotal role in bridging the gap between the families. He communicated Babs' sincerity and genuine desire to marry Derin. Pastor Dipo successfully conveyed the merits of the proposed union to Derin's parents. Babs' parents, convinced by his sincerity, eventually gave their blessing. Similarly, Derin's parents, reassured by Pastor Dipo's endorsement and Babs' transparency, came to see the potential within the union. With both parents in agreement, the stage was set for Babs and Derin to move forward with their marriage plans, ready to face the challenges and joys that lay ahead as they embarked on this journey together. A few days later, Remy burst into Babs' home, visibly upset, his emotions on full display. "Babs, I don't understand why you're doing this. I can't believe you would jeopardize your happiness and Kemi's to help Derin. She's not your responsibility." "She is my sister in the Lord," Babs responded. "This is crazy, Babs. You need to come to your senses." "Remy, I've already discussed this with Kemi, and she understands why I'm doing it. Please, Rem, accept my decision. Derin needs help, and I can support her because I know what she is dealing with." "You said Kemi understands, so why is she leaving everything and following her ex, Daniel, on a mission to Brazil?" "What?" Babs was taken aback. "She resigned from her job and gave up her lease. She leaves in 2 weeks. Tell me if that is not her running away to avoid seeing you and Derin create a life together in the city where she lives." "Oh my God, Remy. I don't know what to say." "End this madness now, Babs. If you are truly my friend, do this for me. You are saving one woman, but another is giving up her life because of you." Remy's outburst left a palpable tension in the room. Babs found himself caught between his convictions and the unintended consequences unfolding before him. Babs couldn't shake the realization that his actions were inadvertently causing pain to someone he deeply cared about. The news weighed heavily on Babs, leaving him torn between his commitment to help Derin and the unintended fallout in Kemi's life. Babs reached for his phone and called Kemi's. The conversation that followed revealed a complexity of emotions. Kemi explained her decision to embark on a mission to Brazil. "Remy came to you, right? He can't just stop meddling. Listen, Babs. I'm not doing this because you chose Derin. Daniel told me about his mission work in Brazil, and he approached me for support for some of the poor families. While talking to Daniel, I asked him if there was room to volunteer, and he said yes. Just like you felt the need to marry Derin to save her, I felt this is what I needed to do. I am only taking 2 years off. 2 years, Kemi. Remy is going to skin me alive. Babs couldn't persuade Kemi to stay. He understood what it meant when God called you. As Babs absorbed the depth of Kemi's sacrifice, Remy's plea echoed in his mind. The weight of responsibility settled on Babs' shoulders as he grappled with the realization that his actions, aimed at helping one person, had inadvertently caused pain to another. Kemi received an invitation to the wedding, but by then, she would be in Brazil. Despite being unable to attend, she sent a wedding present and apologized for missing the celebration. Kemi had set her sights on the future, leaving Babs and Derin in her past, where they must now reside. Babs and Derin tied the knot in a lavish ceremony, attended by many ministers of the gospel. To the outside world, they appeared to be a match made in heaven, but only Babs and Derin knew that the journey ahead of them would be challenging. Following their wedding, Babs and Derin returned to New York, resuming their roles in the church. While Babs devoted considerable time to church activities, he also invested time in nurturing a deeper relationship with Derin, patiently working towards gaining her acceptance as her husband. The journey to intimacy was a gradual one. It took several months for them to connect emotionally and physically. It wasn't until a year had passed that they began to fully embrace the roles of husband and wife. Their journey was marked by moments of strength and fragility, joy and hardship. The expectations of them as a spiritually grounded couple added layers of stress to their relationship. But they remained committed to their future together and leaned on God and each other during the tumultuous times. The difficulty of the path chosen tested the foundations of their marriage, requiring resilience, understanding, and a deep well of patience. In Brazil, Kemi immersed herself in the mission work, periodically reaching out to her family. Remy struggled with the distance, eagerly asking when she planned to return home during their conversations. While her family missed her dearly, they respected her choice to follow her own path. Despite occasional thoughts of Babs, Kemi consciously avoided dwelling on what might have been and focused on her present reality. When the anticipated 2-year period approached for her return, Kemi surprised everyone by deciding to join the team on another mission. This time, their assignment was dangerous, involving areas inhabited by cannibals where many missionaries had lost their lives. Undeterred by the danger, Kemi remained resolute in her commitment to accompany the team into these remote and challenging regions. Around this time, Babs and Derin were expecting their first child. Babs was excited about becoming a father. Derin was indifferent, but she was happy knowing it brought Babs's joy. She recognizes the sacrifice Babs made for her and is committed to making him happy. Derin was driving home one evening after a Bible study meeting with one of their congregation members, when she drove into an unfortunate situation where she was hit by a stray bullet and died on the spot. Babs was devastated, dealing with profound grief, and he found himself questioning God, asking why such a tragic fate had befallen him the second time. He remembered the death of his first wife Laura. In his search for solace, another minister revealed that marrying Derin was not just a choice but a divine assignment, a crucial role in ensuring her spiritual journey ended in eternity. Although deeply saddened, Babs drew comfort from these divine assurances and mourned Derin quietly. In the days that followed, the congregation mourned the loss of their beloved co-pastor, sharing in Babs' grief as they collectively sought strength through prayers. Babs acknowledged the impact Derin had on his life and the lives of those she touched. He was grateful for their brief time together. 3 months had passed, and there was no word from Kemi and her team. Despite sending out search parties, their whereabouts remained elusive. Concerns heightened as the possibility that they might have fallen into the hands of cannibals was raised. The uncertainty surrounding Kemi's fate weighed heavily on her family, intensifying their grief with each passing day. In the heart-wrenching situation, Remy blamed Babs, holding him responsible for the tragic turn of events that befell Kemi. Babs, in his heart, believed that Kemi was still alive. He had an intuition that if Kemi had died, he would somehow feel it deep within. Driven by this conviction, he decided to embark on a journey in search of her. He found two people willing to accompany him on this arduous quest. Their journey ran into weeks, and as they journeyed, they also spread the good news in various settlements. After weeks of traveling the challenging territory, they arrived at their destination. Inquiries within the community revealed that the team had ventured into another part of the forest, and they had just received news that one person from the team had returned, but in serious condition. Hope coursed through Babs as he heard this information. In his heart, he clung to the possibility that the survivor could be Kemi. The uncertainty of the situation heightened his anticipation as they pressed forward to the next settlement where the survivor was being treated. Babs was overjoyed when he met the survivor, and it was Kemi. "Babs, how did you find me?" Kemi inquired, her eyes reflecting surprise and hope. "God led me to you. Even when everyone believed you were dead, I knew in my heart that you were alive. So I set out to find you," Babs replied. "You shouldn't have risked your life in such a manner," Kemi expressed concern, touched by Babs' commitment. "Kemi, you are my life, and I would risk it over and over just to save yours," Babs declared, his words echoing with unwavering devotion. As Kemi began recounting the harrowing tale of their capture by cannibals and the daring sacrifice made by Daniel to save her, emotions ran high. Kemi wept for the demise of Daniel, and Babs consoled her while giving thanks in his heart for Kemi's survival. Kemi's parents had to arrange for a helicopter to lift them out of the remote settlement, as there was an urgent need to get Kemi to the hospital. It was during this journey that Kemi learned about Derin's demise. While saddened by the loss of another wife and child for Babs, Kemi found solace in knowing that Derin had received the necessary help she needed. Kemi spent several weeks in the hospital recuperating. Throughout this period, Babs and Kemi talked about their future together. The trials they had faced, crossing rivers and scaling mountains, seemed to have finally given way, and the prospect of a life together became increasingly evident. After her recovery, Kemi, accompanied by Babs and her family, returned to Nigeria. Kemi's time at the hospital not only mended her physical health, but also strengthened the bond between her and Babs. As they faced the challenges and triumphs that life had thrown their way, it became apparent that the obstacles that once threatened to keep them apart had given way. Kemi and Babs celebrated a quiet and beautiful wedding, exchanging heartfelt vows that resonated with their commitment to a beautiful future together. During the ceremony, the minister invited them to say their vows. "In the presence of God, our families, and our dearest friends, I stand before you, Kemi Olafusi, ready to embark on this extraordinary journey with you. My love, today is a testament to the miracles that God can create. Our journey has restored my faith in God's boundless love and grace. I stand before you, overwhelmed with gratitude for another chance at love. I promise to cherish, honor, and love you for the rest of our days together, to be your partner in all life's adventures, great and small. I vow to stand by you in times of joy and sorrow, to be your confidant, support, and best friend. Together, we will build a life filled with joy, understanding, and unwavering love. I love you with all my heart, Kemi. As we stand here surrounded by our loved ones, I pledge my heart and love to you, Babalola Animation, for all the days of my life. I am grateful to God for guiding us back to each other. Someone once told me that if I love you, I should let you go. And if it's God's will, you will return. After 13 years of waiting, God's timing has proven perfect. I love you, Babs, and my love for you will endure through all the days of our lives. I promise to be patient and kind, and to uplift you in times of need. To create a home filled with warmth, understanding, and acceptance. In good times and challenging ones, I will be by your side, sharing our triumphs and facing our struggles as a united front. With you, I choose to build a future full of love, laughter, and endless joy. Together. Today, we make these vows not as a formality, but as a sacred commitment. With God's grace, we will nurture our love, grow together and face the joys and challenges that come our way, hand in hand. May our journey be blessed, our hearts forever intertwined, and may our love continue to deepen with each passing day. The witnesses responded with a resounding Amen. They exchanged the rings, and the minister presented them to the congregations. I now present to you, Mr. and Mrs. Bobalola Anamasahan. May God bless their union. Amen.